Sonic the Hedgehog is directed by Jeff Fowler from a screenplay by Pat Casey and Josh Miller, starring James Marsden, Jim Carrey, and Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic teams up with a small-town sheriff named Tom as he attempts to escape Robotnik, who seeks to harness his power. Let's preface this review and let's get the blunt truth out of the way. Video game adaptations have sucked, with maybe the sole exceptions of being Detective Pikachu and the latest reboot of Tomb Raider. But overall, video game adaptations have sucked. I could go on for days about, or not really days, but I could go on for a while about the many, many adaptations that Hollywood has done based on video game adaptations that have sucked. But instead of me bragging on about it, why don't I just show you? Here's a few notable mentions in the Hall of Fame. Now that we all saw where we were before, now we can talk about where we are now. And where we are now is Sonic the Hedgehog. Let me state this. As a kid, I grew up playing Sonic, like many have. So when I heard they were making this film, I was very hesitant due to my prior experiences with many video game adaptations. So I was nervous. Is Hollywood gonna fuck this up again? Dude, they messed up Resident Evil, they messed up Silent Hill. I could go on and on of prior video game adaptations. But I was pleasantly surprised with how much of a love letter this film is. It's not perfect, but it will be one of the best adaptations of a video game property. And I know that's not a high bar. If you grew up playing Sonic on the Genesis all the way up to current games and grew up reading the comics and watching the cartoon show, you are indeed in for a treat. You can tell this film was made with love, with the copious and subtle use of Easter eggs and nods to the franchise throughout the film. Prior to seeing Sonic, I was apprehensive about how the film would portray Sonic, even though I'd seen glimpses of how they were going to portray Sonic in the trailer. But after seeing it, I absolutely loved Ben Schwartz's portrayal of the character. It was funny, it was heartwarming, at times emotional, and how the film portrays it really blew me away, because they explored themes of him experiencing loneliness and not having a friend. And as someone on the autism spectrum, I've experienced being lonely and not having any friends, and how this film humanizes Sonic in his overall arc throughout the course of the film hit me very close to home. And I want to commend the filmmakers for making that arc and really very powerful, and really not making it into a joke, and really making it work, and especially Ben Schwartz for hitting it out of the park. Jim Carrey's performance isn't so much Dr. Robotnik for the majority of the film. He's just doing a more over-the-top version of what he's done in the past. But by the time the film ends, he's closer to what people know of Dr. Robotnik from the games. James Marsden in the film portrays a sheriff named Tom who resides in Green Hills, which, if you know your Sonic, is the first level in Sonic 1. He really, in the film, wants to be a better cop and believes he needs to move away from Green Hills in order to do so. The film utilizes this unique dynamic between Sonic and Tom as they're on the road together. At first, they don't really have this combative relationship in a way where Tom doesn't really want to be associated with Sonic and kind of thing. But as they experience things together, they become connected and they learn from each other and they begin to grow, which I thought was very cool. I loved the action in Sonic. It perfectly weaved in Sonic and Robotnik's dynamic of the banter they typically were known for. And maybe I wished there maybe was a couple more set pieces, action sequences. But overall, I really loved the action sequences in Sonic. My criticisms with the film was there were moments at times with the script I felt it was a little too cheesy. I had to be like, oh, really? You're going to do this? I wish there was some aspects of Sonic's mythology that were explored, but I had to remind myself that they're probably saving it for another installment. And there was a character in the film I felt was underutilized. But that's really my criticisms with the film. Overall, Sonic is a great film. It's action-packed, hilarious, wholesome, and emotional. The film is a true love letter to fans of the franchise, old and new, and it's also great for the family. And there are 2 mid-credit scenes you want to stay for. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button down below. And please share your comments down below.